Beneath your feet right now, beneath 4,500 years of sand, limestone, and silence, something is waiting to be found. In March 2025, a team of scientists from Italy and Scotland announced something that sent shockwaves through the world of archaeology. Using satellites orbiting 420 miles above Earth, they claim to have mapped an entire underground world stretching over 6,500 feet directly beneath the Pyramids of Giza. Vertical shafts descending hundreds of meters. Spiral staircases. What appears to be a water system. And at the very bottom, two enormous chambers, each measuring 67,000 square feet. An underground city. Hidden beneath one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. But here's where it gets complicated. Egypt's most powerful archaeologist called it a fabrication. Radar experts said it was physically impossible. And the Egyptian government, which has historically blocked excavations that challenge official history, has gone completely silent. So what is really down there? And why doesn't anyone want us to find out? Stay with me, because this story goes deeper than you think. To understand what was found, you need to understand what the pyramids actually are. The Giza Plateau, home to the pyramids of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, has stood for roughly 4,500 years on the west bank of the Nile. For most of history, we've accepted the mainstream explanation. They were royal tombs, built by the pharaohs. End of story. But for decades, researchers have suspected that the story underneath, literally underneath, might be far more complex. Then came March 22, 2025. A research team led by Professor Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa in Italy, and Professor Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde in Scotland, live-streamed a press conference that would ignite the internet. Their method was unlike anything used before. They combined a technology called Synthetic Aperture Radar, or SAR, with Doppler scanning, using data collected from satellites more than 400 miles above the Earth. Then they fed it through an artificial intelligence system designed to identify structures from the radar returns. And what the AI found stopped them cold. 5 structures near the base of the Khafre pyramid, connected by geometric pathways. 8 massive vertical shafts descending 648 meters, that's over 2,100 feet, straight down. Spiral staircases. Channels that resemble a water pipeline system. And at the deepest detectable level, 2 enormous square chambers, each the size of 7 American football fields. When we magnify the images, Professor Malanga told the press conference, we will reveal that beneath it lies what can only be described as a true underground city. The internet didn't just notice. It exploded. Now, before we go further, you're right to ask, how does this technology actually work? And should we trust it? Synthetic Aperture Radar, or SAR, is not new. NASA uses it to map terrain on other planets. Oceanographers use it to chart the ocean floor. It works by bouncing radar waves off surfaces and measuring how they return, similar to how bats use echolocation. What Malanga and Biondi did differently was combine this with Doppler tomography, essentially using the natural vibrations of the Earth itself, like micro-earthquakes and seismic movement, to enhance the signal. They claim this allowed the radar, mounted on satellites in orbit, to penetrate thousands of feet of solid limestone and granite. Their team even published a peer-reviewed paper in 2022 in the scientific journal Remote Sensing, where they used a similar method to detect hidden rooms and ramps inside the Khafre pyramid itself, a finding that wasn't widely challenged at the time. So there is established precedent for the technique. The question is one of depth. How deep can these signals really go? Professor Lawrence Conyers is a radar specialist at the University of Denver, one of the most respected experts in ground-penetrating radar in the world. And he didn't hold back. He told the Daily Mail that regardless of the type of radar being used, whether SAR or Doppler, there is a physical limit to how deeply signals can penetrate rock. In his own extensive fieldwork, he has rarely been able to penetrate more than 30 feet. The idea of seeing structures over 2,000 feet down, he said, is, and I'm paraphrasing, simply not scientifically credible. He called the underground city claim a huge exaggeration. Then came the heaviest blow. Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most famous and powerful archaeologist, former Minister of Antiquities, went on record calling the findings, quote, baseless fabrications propagated by people with no expertise in Egyptian civilization. He pointed out something crucial: Malanga and Biondi never physically visited the Giza site. They conducted their entire scan remotely, from satellite data. Egypt's government controls all access to the plateau, and no permission was ever granted. Hussein Abdelbasser, director of the Antiquities Museum at the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, added that any legitimate discovery of this magnitude would need to be published in a peer-reviewed journal first, and as of now, these latest 2025 claims have not been. There's also the matter of Professor Malanga's background. Critics were quick to point out that he is known in Italy not just as a scientist, but as a ufologist, someone who has appeared on television programs discussing extraterrestrial life and fringe theories about the pyramids. And the team's more controversial claim? That some of the structures could be as old as 38,000 years, predating known human civilization by tens of thousands of years. That's where mainstream science draws a very hard line. Here's the thing, though. The idea that something exists beneath the pyramids is not crazy. In fact, it's been proven. In 2016, an entirely separate team of Egyptian researchers used a technology called cosmic ray muon tomography using particles from outer space, not radar, to scan inside the Khufu pyramid. They discovered a large void 272 feet below the surface, and a second corridor-like cavity about 75 feet underground. That finding was peer-reviewed, published in the journal Nature, and is now accepted by mainstream Egyptology. In 2024, scientists investigating near the Great Pyramid found unmarked underground structures near its base, reported by the Smithsonian, further suggesting the area beneath Giza remains largely unmapped. And historically? We know that ancient civilizations routinely built caves, tunnels, and ceremonial chambers beneath their pyramids. This was standard practice across Mesoamerica, Southeast Asia, and yes, ancient Egypt. Even Professor Conyers, Malanga's sharpest critic, admitted to reporters, tunnels and structures beneath the pyramids are entirely plausible. His skepticism is about the scale and depth of the claim, not whether anything is there at all. So the real debate isn't, is there something beneath the pyramids? The real debate is, how big is it? And why isn't Egypt letting anyone look? Here is what we know for certain. 2 university researchers used cutting-edge satellite radar technology and produced 3D images that they believe show an underground complex beneath the Khafre pyramid stretching over 1.5 miles in length. The Egyptian government, which controls all access to the site, has not granted permission for any excavation. Egypt's most prominent archaeologist has publicly dismissed the findings without any counter-scan or independent investigation. And the researchers themselves are planning to continue their work into 2026. Promising more detailed images and, potentially, a full peer-reviewed publication. The Hall of Records. The Halls of Amenti. For thousands of years, ancient Egyptian texts described a hidden chamber beneath the desert, a repository of knowledge, of secrets, of things buried on purpose. Maybe it's mythology. Maybe it's exaggeration. Maybe it's exactly what the radar found. Or maybe, just maybe, the most important discovery in the history of human civilization has already been made. And someone, somewhere, doesn't want us to know. This is Chronovault. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this story? It's just getting started.